William Deverell is well known as a best-selling author of crime fiction. Now based in British Columbia, he was born in Regina, attended Newtana Collegiate in Saskatoon, and received his BA and law degrees from the University of Saskatchewan. During his time at the U of S, he was the editor of The Sheaf and worked for the Star Phoenix. After practicing law for about 15 years, he took a sabbatical to work full-time on his first novel, Needles. This book won the $50,000 Seal Books First Novel Award in 1979, and a writing career was launched. He has since written over a dozen best-selling novels and created the CBC series Street Legal. William Deverell has donated his papers to the University of Saskatchewan Archives. This reading is selected from some early fan letters. Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Bidulka.
Dear Mr. Deverell, I read your novel, Mecca. I really liked it. This novel came as a surprise to me. I used to think all Canadian authors wrote about life on the prairies, life in the 30s, life when lost somewhere up north. I enjoyed this book not only for its action, suspense, and violence, but the fact that it is a novel with a Canadian hero. I wish there really was a Jacques Sawchuk right now to help us. Dear Mr. Deverell, this is a note of appreciation from an old fire horse. You do tell a good story. As my old father used to say, and he had limited education, but a good reader he was, when he'd finish a book, he'd say, "Well, quite a bull yarn, that." You should take that as a compliment. Dear Mr. Deverell, hi. I'm presently enrolled as a student in the General Arts and Science program at Sheridan College in Oakville. Among my subjects this semester, I'm taking a course called English and Media Studies. As an assignment in this course, each student is required to select and read a book of fiction. I chose a book written by you. Now, there were a couple of ideas that seemed unclear to me, and maybe you could clarify them. For instance, in your book, Needles, what ideas, if any, are you trying to communicate to your readers? As well, what was your intention in writing this book? And finally, what type of audience were you trying to direct this book towards? Was it towards students or the general public? In concluding, I hope you will give me a reply to these questions. You can safely assume that I will be going to the library more often in search for novels by Mr. William Deverell. P.S. Please send me a reply because the reply is included in the assignment which I'm being graded on. Thank you. Dear Mr. Deverell, sometime in 1943 or maybe 44, I met a Robert Deverell at the Home of Friends in Prince Albert. Your relative, maybe? Your book, Needles, is certainly full of information about drug abuse. You must have done a great deal of research on the subject. But did you have to use so many naughty four-letter words? It would have been a very good book without so many, I think. And I question your spelling of the name Kutsnewicz. I know 3 Central European languages, and I have never come across a word with 4 consonants together, or even 3 consonants at the end, like you have it, WCH, WYCH, or even WICH to end a word, yes. The way you have it is almost unpronounceable in any language. Again, about those 4-letter words. Is this perhaps a common way of speaking by people involved in the drug traffic? I have read many books in my long life, but this is the first time I have written a fan letter to an author. Now, when I first read these fan letters to William Deverell, I couldn't help but think about the many messages that I've gotten over the years, and certainly by far the majority of them are these lovely, kind, giving messages. And it really is something. It's It's, I think, the most unexpected perk of this career, to think that people actually take the time to sit down and write you a note to tell you how much they enjoyed your writing. But, like William Deverell, every so often a letter or two comes through, and you have to wonder about the true intent of it. There were two in particular that I received about several years ago after I had published my third book. And they are from, I'll call her Linda X, a Saskatchewan reader. November 2nd, 2005. Dear Mr. Bidulka, love your books. I've just finished Tapas on the Ramblas, which was a thriller for sure. The problem is that my husband is the expert on grammar, and it's also a fascinating subject for me. On the page where you talk about things going together, you made an error. After a negative, you should use the word so instead of the word as. Also, I noted a typo on page 202, chapter 13. I just felt you should know about these errors, as I would like to be told if I had written such a masterpiece. November 5th, 2005. Hi, Mr. Bidulka. I also forgot to congratulate you on your award. But I'm also sorry to have to mention that you consistently misuse the word one and the word each. I think, personally, that you need a new editor. But it's great to know that a fellow Saskatoonian has achieved fame and fortune. Oh, and I enjoyed your bio, but there are a couple of errors there as well. I hope your books go into many printings. Your biggest fan, Linda. Now, to be fair to Linda, that book actually went into a new edition, and we used all of her suggestions.